Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about City of Others by Jared Poon. So, as you might recall, 2 weeks ago, we were in Singapore with Wen Yi Lee's When They Burned the Butterfly. We took a trip to space after that, but you know what? I wasn't quite done with Singapore, so we are right back there in Southeast Asia with Jared Poon's debut novel, City of Others. Very, very different from When They Burned the Butterfly, but also similar. If you like queer people in Southeast Asia with strange and fabulous magic, then I think you're going to like both. But where When They Burned the Butterfly is like mean lesbian femmes on like motorbikes, City of Others is, nice, polite, and civil servant sorts of gay men who are solving supernatural mysteries. It's an urban fantasy novel. It's the first in the DEUS files, and I hope that there are many more because this is a really great team and a really fun setting. It's a great urban fantasy in the tradition of Ben Aranovich. If you're a fan of the work of David Slayton or Katie Edwards, I think you're going to get a lot of pleasure and enjoyment out of City of Others as well. And as I said, it's an urban fantasy. It's the story of Ben To, who is a civil servant, bureaucrat, field agent in the Department for, Division for Engagement of Unusual Stakeholders. Now that's a mouthful, and that's why we abbreviate it to DEUS. It's the organization in the Singaporean government to engage with the supernatural. And like many government agencies, it is perpetually underfunded, understaffed, and misunderstood. And so we have these fun sort of tensions of being a state employee in the mix, as well as our really fun and exciting supernatural elements, and playing with the sort of tensions of having to report to middle managers, having to deal with the fact that this is like an unknown scenario for the largest part of the population, things that people don't notice in that very like classic urban fantasy tradition. People just, they don't notice when like all this weird supernatural stuff is happening. And a fun, fresh take on why that is specific to the culture. It's just like really, really fun. I love the sorts of stories where we get these really traditional models and give it a whole new light, a whole new spin. I grew up reading the Dresden Files and have always been a great fan of urban fantasy, but it is a genre that has sort of lingered in some ways, in some places, and so it's always fun when we get these really fresh and exciting takes on it. City of Others, it's really a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a really fun series. It's that like classic, series of standalones, things that you get the sense will build on one another, but are going to be self-contained case stories. Just really like good fantasy. And a tremendous amount of fun. Cool magic, this way of dealing with the interiority of a character in a magical way, something that is often hard to do when you're sitting in a character. The magic that's built around cultivation of virtues within oneself. I talk a lot in my personal life about what you grow in your garden of virtues, and here it is here in the book. And like a handsome Malayan boyfriend who is like in a band and also has a very different magic of his own, like cool stuff and djinn and ribald spiritual entities and ghost cats and a sinister threat that might destroy the city, and the sort of grief that fuels destruction Really, really excellent stuff. So, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the DEUS, named for the organization at the heart of the story, and we are going to start by getting a bar spoon of whole milk powder into the bottom of our shaker tin. This is going to be a mocktail, so when we're getting this fluff and fizz, we want to use something that's not egg white, because we don't have the alcohol to cook that for, extra safety. So we'll use our whole milk powder. It creates really interesting sort of structural foam, adds some wonderful texture to a drink, but also has this precarity to it. It's a foam that doesn't last quite as long as like an egg white in a fizz. And so you have that tension, that ticking clock on your drink. And to that we will add the remainder of our liquid ingredients, starting with, let's start with our main spirit, which is 2 ounces of iced green tea. Lovely. Perfect. And to that we will add our modifiers. We will add 1/2 ounce of seaweed syrup. We have this threat of a sort of magical entity, the shoal, and it's got this very briny, oceanic quality to it. And so seaweed syrup is really my favorite ingredient for bringing that briny, oceanic quality to a drink. It's going to add that sort of savory tang and still that bit of sweetness, because it is a simple syrup that has been immersed, that's had seaweed immersed in it and soaked in it. And so it's going to have that wonderful sort of sweet savory balance to it. Then we'll add 1/2 ounce of lime juice for a bit of brightness, a bit of zing. And then a couple droppers full of some grapefruit, rosemary, and peppercorn bitters. Now, if you just have grapefruit bitters, that's fine. You might want to add a little bit of fresh rosemary to your mocktail as well. We're going to get 3 droppers full of that. This is the Rizzo from Crude Bitters. As I said, Ben has this magic that he uses as a gardener, this interior cultivation, and so this is going to bring some of that really herbal, sort of vegetal quality to our drink. It's got that just that rosemary, pininess, tree quality that plays really well with the more delicate flavors of our green tea, or the assertiveness of the seaweed syrup. So I'll get that down in there. Give that a little bit of a stir to help to dissolve our whole milk powder. Lovely. And then we'll give that a dry shake. We use this dry shake to help blend our ingredients when we're making a fizz-style drink before. It helps to get that froth and foam, nice and big and bold. And in the case of whole milk powder, it helps to continue to dissolve that into the body of our drink. Lovely. Ooh. Can smell that seaweed. It's really good. All right. Now we will add our ice and chill it on down. As you can see, nice frosty freezy. Get a highball glass. Boop. And strain that there. We'll want to double strain that just so we don't end up with any of our whole milk powder back into our drink. Lovely. As you can see, we've got this beautiful froth and foam on it. We're dealing with this sort of interpolation of a world of forms, this numinous other floating just beneath the surface, those hidden depths. And so having the layers of our froth and fizz is really going to help to communicate that as we're drinking. As you can see, we've got plenty of space left in our glass. We're just going to top that with some seltzer to give it that nice froth fizz foam. Beautiful. And there you have it. This is the DEUS, inspired by City of Others by Jared Poon. City of Others is available now. A huge thank you to the publisher, Orbit Books, for sending me a bound galley. I liked it so well, I had to go and get a finished copy. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below, as well as a link to purchase my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails to level up your game night. If you are looking for a written version of today's recipe, check out our links to Blue Sky and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. We've got some great other 2026 releases that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks. Books that I'm so excited to share with you all. I can't wait to do that. And until next time, cheers.